told Biden that day under the tree, quote, that if the U.S. really meant what it said about repairing U.S.-Turkish relations, the case needed to go away. Incidentally, Erdogan also told Biden under the tree that not only did he want him to get rid of Preet Bharara, the prosecutor, the U.S. attorney, he also wanted Biden to get rid of the judge handling the case. He wanted the prosecutor and the judge taken out. Standing there with Erdogan and with the world's press watching, Biden made clear that no one, not even the U.S. president, meddles in judicial affairs in the United States.
I know it's hard. I don't know. I suspect it's hard for your people to understand that as powerful as my country is, as powerful as Barack Obama is as president, he has no authority under our Constitution to extradite anyone. Only a federal court can do that. Nobody else can do that. If a president were to take this into his own hands, what would happen would be he would be impeached for violating the separation of powers.
Biden gets asked, hey, get rid of this investigation. Get rid of the prosecutors leading this investigation. Get rid of the judge in this case. I'm the president of Turkey. You're the vice president of the United States. Get rid of that for me. Biden responds and says, we don't do it that way in the United States. Law enforcement is apolitical in the United States. The president doesn't tell some prosecutor or some judge what to do in some criminal case. That's not how it works. He'd be impeached. Turns out, we now know, the Turkish president didn't give up on those demands, but he found a far more willing partner with the next president. The New York Times details that in this blockbuster story today. Headline is, Turkish bank case showed Erdogan's influence with Trump. Yeah, talk about understating it in the headline. This is the Iran-Contra scandal updated for the 21st century and on steroids. This is just astonishing. President Trump, you'll remember, has business interests in Turkey himself. He has prided himself also on his relationship with authoritarian leaders the world over. He was much more amenable to the Turkish leaders' pressure on this, and he, in fact, instructed his Justice Department to back off in a way that Biden and Obama had balked at. Trump's pressure, his acceding to Erdogan's pressure, alarmed even some of his own closest aides. Quote, Trump's sympathetic response to Erdogan was especially jarring, former White House officials said. They came to fear that the president was open to swaying the criminal justice system to advance a transactional and ill-defined agenda of his own. After Trump fired Preet Bharara, Jeffrey Berman was picked as the new U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. By 2018, Jeffrey Berman and his team of prosecutors had already indicted 9 people in this sanctions scheme involving this Turkish bank. One witness had even testified that the operation was done with the direct knowledge of President Erdogan and Erdogan's son-in-law. But here's the thing. When those prosecutors in SDNY were ready to file charges against the bank, they were prevented from doing so. As the Times reports today, Trump's acting attorney general at the time, Matt Whitaker, remember him, the bald guy? He explicitly, quote, rejected a request from Berman for permission to file criminal charges against the bank. In a separate meeting, Whitaker made clear, quote, that he did not want the case to move forward, that he wanted the matter shut down. Berman was also pressured into dropping the case by Whitaker's successor, Attorney General Bill Barr. According to the Times, at a meeting in June 2019, Bill Barr pressed Jeffrey Berman to allow the bank to avoid an indictment by paying a fine and acknowledging some wrongdoing. In addition, the Justice Department would agree, under Barr's proposal here, would agree to end investigations in criminal cases involving Turkish and bank officials who were allied with Erdogan and suspected of participating in the scheme. So exactly what Erdogan had been pressing Biden and Obama for, Biden responding and saying, no, that would be improper and unethical. The president would be impeached for doing that. Trump does it. Tells Whitaker to do it, Whitaker does it. Tells Barr to do it, Barr does it. Now, Barr leans on Jeffrey Berman at SDNY, and Jeffrey Berman says no. As he argued, quote, the suggestion that the Justice Department would offer Turkish officials protection from criminal charges, even without their agreement to assist in the investigation, is unacceptable and unethical. Justice Department policy specifically says criminal conduct by individuals doesn't get resolved when a company admits wrongdoing. Berman told Barr, quote, this is not how we do things in the Southern District. Adding that he would not agree to such a move and that his office would not be part of it. As the Times reports, the administration's bitterness over Jeffrey Berman's unwillingness to go along with Barr's proposal would linger and would ultimately contribute to his dismissal as U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. That Turkish bank, it was eventually charged by SDNY prosecutors after they were given permission to do so by Bill Barr. Not because of any change in evidence or circumstances surrounding the case, nothing that should be within the four corners of a prosecution. Ultimately, they got permission to go ahead with charges against the bank because of a dust-up between Trump and Erdogan over Syria last year. They got into a personal fight, and so the president greenlit the charges, apparently. Trump had initially given Erdogan the green light to send troops into Syria. He faced an intense bipartisan backlash, leading him within days to take a tougher line with Turkey, threatening economic reprisals. And that's why the prosecutors were essentially told, okay, now you can go ahead and indict that bank. As if the prosecutors are just servants who work for the president in order to meet his personal needs. I mean, it's just a terrible piece of news in terms of what the president has been able to do and how two of his attorney generals have been operating under his orders. What does that mean for the independence and the operations of the Justice Department as we head into what is very likely going to be a hotly contested election?